Very good.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Welcome to SARA Academy in Simrishamn in Sweden. My name is Lena. I'm the rector of the school and have a group of people here next to me.
Should we just introduce ourselves?
Yeah, we could do that. That's a good idea.
I'm Hans Peter Szameit. I'm co-founder and director of the school, also lecturer and instructor.
I'm Kaisa. I'm a second-term student at the school.
Yeah, I'm Maz, term 4 painting term student. I'm sorry.
Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us here. We will talk. We'll keep this like a conversation, not so much a presentation, perhaps, and everyone will talk a bit about the school, what they're doing here, and give you as much information as possible in this hour. I know that many people sit all over in different parts of the world and maybe struggle to come here to visit us. So we thought we would give you this this evening to share what we know and yeah.
Please write some questions to us. If you have a question or something, just type it in. We have someone watching. Alex, thank you for that. And he'll let us know if some questions come in.
Yeah, and let us know if you can't hear us properly. I hope that the sound is okay. So I thought that Hans would talk a bit about the school and why it came about and when, how the education itself is structured and the working methods that we use here. And he will also mention what students end up doing after they leave here. We have Kaisa, who's in her second term of the school. She'll talk a bit about typical day or typical week here, and what she's up to. And Math, a bit how you found the school and why you're here, what you're doing at the moment. So maybe over to you, Hans.
All right. Well, it's kind of a longish history, but we won't make it long. We've been around in Sweden since 2006. We started the school here. The other co-founder, Sanna Tomatz, is from Sweden. So there wasn't a school like this in Sweden. So we came and we were in the US at the time and we loved life in Europe. So we decided to move the school here. And then when did we move down to Simrishamn?
2005.
15. Right. So we were in Stockholm for a few years. Then we came here in 2015, moving from Stockholm, which was a big cosmopolitan city, moving to this small sort of seaside fishing town. Nervous about that, but actually love it. It was a good thing. It's beautiful nature, nice place in general. Maybe you guys can talk more about that. Not distracting. So it's actually a very nice place. Why is the school? Well, we love teaching. When I was a student, I studied in Florence Academy of Art, and was asked to be a teacher there when I was a student, and really enjoyed it, loved it. And so when we left and finished, I wanted to teach as well. I also studied with Odd Nerdrum for a little bit, and that was quite a good experience as well. So Sanna and I put together a school, sort of taking the best bits from all our different experiences and created the kind of school that we would have liked to have attended, and that was SARA. And here we are today, and it's sort of a nice, intimate school. It's not too large. It's 35 students maximum in a beautiful 19th century building. I do encourage you to go online and check it out. There's a lot more information there, and pictures and galleries and things like that. And it's a 3-year education. When you leave here, you should be able to, everybody leaves better when they came. We have a great before and after section too. You should check out on our website that shows people's application images and then images that they did when they left their training. And you can really see the difference there. A lot of schools will show, and we do too, some of the best work that's been produced here, but that before and after thing, that really shows you how you get better here, the amount of improvement there is. So check that out. First year is just drawing. Just let me step back and just say this education is pretty intense, and it's not for everybody. So we'd also say that you should make sure that this is the right kind of place for you. It's representational art. We don't work from photographs. It's all from life and imagination, things like that, here at SARA anyway. And it's intense. 3 years is hardly enough time to sort of give you the skills that you can sort of draw and paint how things look that you're looking at, that you see them. That's sort of what everybody wants, and so we sort of intensely focus on that. But we also have creative studies as well, and lectures on the business of being an artist, you know, contracts and artist resumes and statements and things like that. A little bit art history and all of that too. So we try to sneak as much as we can in those 3 years. So it's not just come and, you know, play with paint. It's pretty intense, but it's a craft, and you can learn it with guidance. And I would say also for any of you who are thinking about studying art like this, whether or not you come here isn't as important as just that you get training somewhere from someone, and not just books and YouTube and that kind of thing. I'd really suggest that you find a school where you can work with someone who can help you, you know, a real human being, and not just teach yourself from, you know, videos and books and that kind of thing. And visit the schools that you're interested in if you can. I'd love if you guys could come and visit here. Very proud of this place. Love to show it off. Talk to people, other students. So if you're ever around in the neighborhood, please stop by. Anytime is good. Just let us know when you're coming, and we can show you around. What else was I supposed to talk about?
I was thinking maybe
There's a
mentioning
lot.
a bit
We,
of the method that we use here.
Yeah, okay.
We got a
really-
little question here that
Yeah.
could be on that subject, which is, how does this school differ from, for example, Florence Academy or the Russian academies?
Good question.
Good
And that's the answer is one of the biggest differences probably is that we don't use site size. If you look at a lot of ateliers or similar schools like ours, it's going to be site size based, and that's a fine method for getting good results, but it's really impractical and very, very limiting. I was trained in it. I taught it. I loved it, and then fell deeply out of love with it when I realized how limiting it was. And so we use the comparative method here, which allows you to draw anything from any angle, not have to have a very specific setup or anything with that at all. And it's really far more traditional of a method. And other differences, smallish, not some of these really big ateliers, which is really nice because everybody knows everybody. Advanced students and beginning students work together. It's just a really nice atmosphere. It's like a busy working, Rubens studio or something like that. Not a lot of people, and I think it's a real plus, actually. I wouldn't want to get much bigger, if at all bigger, because I like that. I'd rather just get, better and better and keep it like this. Other differences would be the creative aspect.
I was just going to say the food.
Yeah, when what I noticed in Sana too, and a lot of our colleagues who studied at other schools when we left, because of the intense focus, like I said, 3 years is a short time to teach you those practical skills of how to look at something and draw and paint it to look like you see it. And when that's all we were doing, and we're talking about fractions of a millimeter and things like that. So when we left, we might have started school thinking, oh, I want to make huge compositions and all kinds of figures and things like that. And then when you leave, having studied intensely this sort of site size method and things like that, it was kind of crippling. We hadn't exercised that creative muscle, so to speak. And so that atrophied, and you felt like, well, how would I set that up? How would I get that? How would I do it? And we didn't appreciate that at all. So we decided we would add to the program, which is what we do here, is a creative aspect to it, which is 3 times a term. Students are given a sentence, fragment of an idea, quote, something like that, and they create an image based with traditional media and loosely interpreting that scene. And then we get together as a group and discuss them anonymously, and it's a really nice sort of opportunity for students to create something personal And it's interesting to see also how lots of different people interpret that same sort of seed, and then discuss it and see if you were successful and what you wanted to communicate. It's not just good job, but just an honest sort of, yeah, that works, or I don't understand what is that, and that kind of thing. And then the author gets up and discusses and says, what is it? This is, yeah, you were right. No, I meant this to be not fear, but surprise or something like that. So it's a really nice opportunity. And that we do throughout your studies. And at the last year, you have become called Superseed, which is a big project, gallery ready painting of big dimensions and of a seed, but sort of highlighting, showing off everything you've learned up to that point in oil paint, ready to hang, really nice. And then that's showed off towards the end when you graduate, and it's kind of cool. So the creative part, the comparative method, and we're in a little seaside village in Sweden, in Northern Europe, which is kind of cool. So if you don't like beautiful Italian landscape and gorgeous weather and all of that, come to us. You'll love it here. It's really nice. It is beautiful. It's not Italy, but it's really lovely, actually.
It's end of September here, and it's been glorious day to day. I'd say like 20 plus.
Yeah, no, it's
not
different.
so bad.
It's really lovely, and you have Copenhagen, just easy 2 hours away. Yeah, 2 hours, something like that. So you have a nice big house, really, actually a very cool town, cosmopolitan city with great museums. It's all here what you need, and I just love Sweden. So just again, not for everybody. 3 years, first year and a half, you're not even working with color. It's just drawing and then black and white painting, and that isn't for everybody, right? You really have to want this. How bad you want this knowledge? What are you willing to do and give up? And you don't just come and start painting color portraits. I mean, you can do that on your own, of course, but here, following the program, it's a very sort of step-by-step program. You master one thing, move to the next, you're ready for it, hungry for the next step, on and on you go until you get to painting, the figure in full palette, all colors that you want, that sort of thing. So it's look into it, make sure it's for you. I wouldn't want you to be here if this wasn't the right place for you. And I want to make sure we try really hard when we choose our students to make sure that everybody is a good fit, because that's important. I think I don't want to waste your time or our time as teachers or your money. So make sure it's the right place for you. Ask questions, come to visit if you can, be in touch and figure it out. What you can do with these skills, a lot actually, because you own it, it's yours. It's the skills, they're not based on software or electricity or anything else. It's just you own these skills, and so you can use them in lots of different industries. You can be a tattoo artist, you can be a fine artist, sell work in galleries, things like that, illustration, comic art. I mean, we built it for fine artists, I'm going to be honest, because that's what we love most. But the fact is, these skills have value, and you can do a lot of different things with it, like the things I mentioned. So it's actually kind of a lot of opportunities and we have people that are, just want to get better, use their skills for graphic design or professionals, absolute beginners. That's not really important. What's important is that you're willing, that you want it, the knowledge, and that you're willing to learn it. And we'd love to help you. I mean, that's fun, to give you skills and then see what you do with it. We don't want to create a certain look. I hope you don't look at the work of this school and say, oh yeah, that's SARA Academy. Like you can do with other schools and say, oh, I know where that painting was painted. We try to have every student keep their sort of voice, their sort of individuality, but give them the skills that they can then just do what they want to do better, without sort of forming them too much into a certain kind of painter or anything like that. And I think that's what happens. And also something that Son and I are very proud of too. And we've worked hard and thoughtfully to do. All right.
Do we have a question?
We just got another question
Cool.
that I think is well aimed for you, and then maybe you could keep on with the presentation. But we had a person here asking, can you get CSN, the Swedish?
Good question.
Yeah, exactly. Because he remembered looking back, a few years ago when it wasn't possible, but was asking or wondering if it was possible now.
Yeah, good question. And that's what I was going to mention a few things about. There is a lot of information on our website that you can read up about. The website is under. It's going to be new. We're launching a new website in the new year, so we're very excited about that. So, but there is information on the website about these things as well. But yes, you can get CSN. The 3-year program is approved by CSN, and that is for Swedish students, and also EU students can apply for CSN.
It's basically
just
student
to
financial aid.
Yeah.
If you're not Swedish, you might not know what CSN is.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, no, that's the Swedish government support of study. EU students can now also apply for this, but when you do to get that in, which is quite amazing that you can get the help from Sweden, and that's a full study support. With
all 3 years.
They will give you a loan for the term fee as well. But if you're an EU student, you need to work 10 hours a week to get that. So that's good. That's important to remember. Overseas students are also welcome to apply, and we do have students from all over the world here, which is very exciting, from the States. Where are we from at the moment? We have the Malaysian students.
Yes, States,
Australia,
Switzerland, Germany,
Germany,
Iceland,
yeah.
Faroe Islands,
Yeah.
US, a lot of different places.
But if you're overseas student and not in the EU, you do need to get a visa that you apply for. But there's information on the website, and also I just want to mention you're always welcome to email us with any questions you have on any of those things.
Typically, about 30 to 40% of our students are from other countries outside of Sweden.
We don't have a SARA campus. We would like to have that one day, but we don't. But it is fairly easy to find housing here in Simrishamn. Would you agree to that?
Yeah, sure.
And also a bit more affordable maybe than living in a big city.
Yeah,
Rent.
so much.
Yeah.
And within walking distance, almost always.
Yeah. And we recommend to stay in the town, because we're here quite late at night some nights, and it's nice to the public transport is maybe not like it would be in a city. So it's good to live in town, and we help you find accommodation as well. We have always been able to find places for people to stay. The school itself is quite a large building. We are now in the model room, where you spend a lot of your time on this education. Kajsa will say a bit about how we divide up the week. We have a library at the school, etching studio, a living room for more social, to socialize a bit more. Of course, this is a bit like a home for many people, I'd say. There's a kitchen, fully fitted kitchen. Students cook together.
Getting a new kitchen tomorrow.
We're getting a new kitchen.
Or not next week.
Finally.
That's nice.
So we're actually 200 meters from the beach as well, which I think is nice to mention. It's a good place to stroll down to. It is quite cold.
You swim there daily, Alex, don't you?
Not in the summers.
Not in the summer. It's only in
Only
the
winter.
cold bunch.
Crazy.
Braver man than I.
School is normally open on Saturdays. There's no teaching going on Saturdays, but students are here Sundays having portrait clubs and watch movies and whatever. Usually open between 10 and 3. Is that 10 and 3?
Officially.
But I'm sure
Stretches
some
later
students
than
are
that,
later than that. There's a train station here, so you can jump on the train to Malmö, Lund, Copenhagen, 2 hours away, like you just mentioned before. I was gonna say we take school trips. We go to Copenhagen every autumn, visit the museums and galleries there. and then we try and do.
Rent a bus.
We rent the bus.
It's kind of fun.
We go to Copenhagen for the day. It's always a nice trip to do. And then in the spring we try, and of course when the pandemic was going, we didn't, but we went to Madrid in spring for the school trip, which was amazing, to visit the Prado museum there and other really nice places. Malmö Opera kindly invite us regularly to go and see opera in Malmö, where we get the free tickets to see the pre-rehearsal, which is fun. We're going next week to this Don Giovanni. Yeah,
Life is
I
pretty
think.
good here.
Pardon?
Life is pretty good.
Life
here.
is pretty
It
good.
seems like. Wow.
Yeah, we work hard, but we have
Mhm.
fun too, I'd say. So yeah, I don't know, Kajsa, do you want to talk a bit about why you're here and
Yeah.
what it's like?
How I found the school, maybe.
Yeah, good idea.
Yeah, I found the school walking past when I was visiting a friend, and for some reason you had drawings outside, and I was like, "Whoa, how are these
they were fixing
drawings?"
them.
Yeah, I couldn't believe that they were actually drawings. They were so good, and I thought like, I'll never be good enough to go to this school. I didn't have very good self-esteem, and then I met Lucas, who is now in the 5th term, and he told me about the school and that anyone can apply, and you don't have to have any like set experience with drawing or anything to go to the school. So I applied, and now I'm here. And I left my part-time job that I didn't really like, and now my life is so nice. I'm very happy. I love the school. Should I talk about how the days are here?
Yeah, maybe a bit, but how it's divided.
Right now in the 2nd term, we're working on cast drawings in the morning and figure drawings in the afternoon, and that's the same for the 2nd term and 3rd term and 4th term, right? No.
Yeah, we're separate.
Oh, okay, the other way around.
Term 1 and 3 have figure in the afternoon.
Yes.
That's right.
From Monday to Thursday, and then on Fridays we usually have lectures or private, like working on our private
workshops.
demos, workshops. And on Mondays and Tuesday evenings we do portraits, and anyone is free to join. On Thursdays we have croquis, where anyone can join as well. That's very nice. Get some extra practice in. And on Saturdays we do portrait club as well. A few students sit for each other, so that's also very nice.
Lots of portraits.
Yeah, lots of portraits.
Have you improved?
Huh?
Portrait-wise? Do you feel
Yeah,
you've
I
improved?
think so. Yeah, I've improved a lot. I haven't been here for a long time, but I can already see a very big improvement in my drawing, and I feel more confident working now. Yeah, I feel like I can take on like projects without being super scared to start. Yeah.
And that's just, you're still in term 2 and there's so much to go. So
Yeah.
I have 4 more terms.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Great.
That's really good. Thank you.
Yeah. And
Oh, do I go next?
What's your ambition?
At first I wanted to be a tattoo artist, but now I'm kind of changed directions. I want to be a fine artist. I'm kind of interested in maybe doing decorative arts,
You could do
like
both
wall
too.
art. Yeah, a lot of things. You have a lot of possibilities.
Yeah, it opens you up so much to anything. It gives you the confidence to do whatever you want really afterwards.
But yeah, fine artist would be nice. Selling art, making my own things.
Will be nice.
It will be nice. Yeah,
It's
I'm very excited. I'm excited for the future.
And how about you, Maz? Where are you currently in the program, and how's your days looking here at school?
Yeah, I'm term 4, so that's or a year and a half now. Kind of lose track of time.
Term 4. That's what,
Yeah,
you're in term 4.
yeah.
Starting it.
So halfway,
Almost 3/4
past
of
the
the way
halfway point of the program, and we do painting in grisaille. So it's a very limited palette. You just work in the browns, blacks, and whites, essentially color pigments.
How has that felt? I mean, you study all this time, and you're not even painting in color yet.
I know, but you feel just a little bit closer, you know.
Right.
But you gotta, you know, do the walk first before you can run, and that's such a nice thing about this education is it sets you up. Each term kind of builds on top of itself, and you know, if thrown into the full overwhelming abyss of fine art, you kind of gently kind of pushed in, tugged along, and each term kind of tries you out more and more. You break your confidence, and it pushes you past your safety bubble, you could say, and you get better at the end. You always improve. Everyone improves, like with their figures. Dramatically, you can't almost recognize who done that figure comparatively. So yeah, in term 4, it's just kind of working on top of the chalk and charcoal term before was term 3, and that's to give you the kind of knowledge to get into color, which is the next term. And yeah, then it's like that's like the finishing the last run in the school 5 and 6, term 5 and 6, do color. That's kind of what I came here for, you know. It took
finally,
a while,
right?
yeah.
No, but
But it's
it's
so
true.
worth it.
You're always practicing, you know, accuracy in terms of, you know, drawing, values, and edges, and proportions, all that. Always
Yeah.
practicing that, and you're sort of moving up, getting closer and closer to finally introducing things like color and temperature and all these sorts of things, right? It would be too overwhelming if you just sort of gave someone a palette with all the colors on it and said, paint, you know, it'd just be like, forget it. Yeah, exactly. So it's sort of a nice preparation. So you're almost there.
Almost there.
Almost there.
It feels good though.
Mm.
It's like a steady pace.
What did you do before you came here?
Well, I was trying to become a concept artist. I had this idea that I want to be a digital artist, and just self-teach myself there. And I didn't find it very fulfilling. I found it quite isolating, and it wasn't. I didn't find the work to be particularly right, even though I really wanted to become a concept artist. I just felt very disconnected from digital work, and then reading up about SARA and reading up about the traditional method and how this traces back to Michelangelo. You know, it's on the SARA page too. You can see all the teachers. You've done that, Hans, right? The history of the teachers and the
The lineage. I mean, you can do concept art in traditional media. Of course, you think of like Frank Frazetta, and there's artists working now, you know, that can produce that kind of stuff with traditional media. But maybe that's just something I want to say real quick too, is that we don't do digital art here or anything like that. Because we have some talented artists here, Tor, for example, who is very good and does a lot of digital work, and so we'll give some lectures and classes on that sort of thing. But it's not really what we do here. This is traditional media, old school art in terms of, you know, oil paint, canvas, charcoal, paper. It smells like an art school. It's, you know, I like that. You know, something that digital art can't give you is the dirt, the smells, the romance of being a painter. Yeah. So this isn't, well, I don't want to say that either, because you could have this training and become a much better concept artist. And we have students now who are working at DICE, who go to work places like that. When we were in Stockholm, we had a nice relationship with DICE, and they really liked what we did with artists, and they liked hiring people from us. So it's really, it's not the intent, but it's of course something that you can do is go into visual effects, concept art, things like that. Absolutely, with these skill sets.
Yeah, that was for me actually. It was quite a funny journey, because coming into this education to get better at illustration and concept art, I ended up switching sides and actually wanting to become a fine artist. Just having interactions. Yeah, and seeing like you can actually make, you know, be a fine artist. You can make a living. You can be successful and create amazing pieces of work. And then seeing teachers that are here that can do that. And I fell in love with that, the realism of being in this school and learning the methods. You feel so independent and kind of Like you could, all right, you learn how to draw with charcoal. That means you can just pick up a stick, you know, and do any drawing anywhere. You feel so reliable on yourself. I think that's the beauty of it. Whereas with digital, I found it encumbering because like, oh, I have to get something, electricity outlet, have to have a screen, and then the tablet's not working. Here it's just like, oh, pencil, paper.
That's what's so amazing.
Yeah.
You look at these beautiful charcoal drawings. Check them out in the gallery.
Yeah.
It's just a burnt piece of wood and paper. That's it.
Yeah.
And then you make this beautiful thing with it. Then maybe add a little white chalk later. And black and white paint. And
Yeah.
stuff like that. Yeah. That's really cool. Love it.
Is there any questions that come through?
Not right now, but I am curious to ask the students here. Is there anything special? I know, Matt, you have been going through a little, longer in the program since you're in term 4 and you're in term 2, Kaisa. But is there anything special that has been or is currently like challenging for you guys, or things that you have been challenged by and overcome? In this very technical and demanding education.
Yeah. Well, I can say each term presented some challenges. In term 3, it was the introduction of chalk, working with chalk and charcoal. And in this term, it's oil paints, and you sort of from term 1, you build up to term 3, where you peak in terms of the use of charcoal and chalk. But in term 4, you also almost like you start over again, and when you're doing paints now, and it's a medium I've never used before. And it's really not that scary once you start doing it. I think if you create these ideas that it's a lot more scary than it actually is, but when you start working in painting, it's like, oh, this is pretty much what I've done in the previous terms.
Try to set you up to win.
Yeah.
In the sense that it's a very smooth transition from one to the other.
And you have that confidence from the previous terms. Sort of you get it each time more and more that you can fall back on and say that I've faced challenges like this before, I can get better at it. And teachers will always be there to help you. And they will stay up after hours sometimes even to help you solve your problems that you're having, whatever you're working on. And that's the beauty of it, I think.
We got a question right now. That maybe is for Hans. How do you feel about new pigments introduced in the past few years, and also signatures on academic works?
New pigments. If I'm not exactly sure what you mean, but if you mean do you mean water miscible oil paint, like water soluble oil paint, or do you mean? I mean, a new pigment is a new pigment. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just going to depend on what you're working with. Is it light, fast? I like using how I sort of personally look at things. I mean, there are fluorescent pigments and things like that. Those are fairly new. Cool, I guess, if they work. But when I look at history and I see the paintings in museums that have been painted, every conceivable material, whether transparent, reflective, I mean, everything has been painted beautifully, and they didn't have anything special. I see that sort of not as a challenge, but I feel like you don't need anything. There's no magic bullet, but I can see how some things would be nice, but it's all been done so well, and you can learn how to do that too. People always look for not always, but people often look for some little thing to make their life easier. Of course, we all do. It's hard enough, to paint. It's challenging, but if there's some magical medium, or painters typically ask, "What's your medium? What are you using?" Or some cool new paint or brush style or something like that. And I think some of these things are the art industry, just trying to keep relevant, keep introducing things to make us buy it. But it's all been done so beautifully in simple ways. That's something else that we do here is you grind our own paint. With pigment and oil, you will learn how to do that. You don't have to do that. Of course, I like tube paint. I'm glad I don't have to make my own brushes and things like that. But you will get sort of an intimate knowledge of your materials. And it's really cool, actually, to make your own paint, squeeze it out of a tube, and it's perfect oil paint. That's really satisfying, and it's economical. But anyway, that's another conversation. But I don't know if I answered your question. I hope I did. No, there was something else. What was the second part to it?
Signatures on academic works.
Signatures. I have some opinions on signatures. If this is what you mean, and I hope I don't misunderstand you. A signature it should be considered in the composition. How obvious it is. Is it subtle? Is it you're looking at the painting and it's a beautiful painting and you're wondering who painted it and you approach it and say, oh, there's a signature, or does it pop out? I don't like signatures to do that unless it's meant to sort of balance the composition or something like that. It should be put down. It can ruin a painting. It can spoil a painting. A crappy, childish signature on a beautiful painting is just like a false note in a symphony. It's horrible. So take it seriously. Just practice making a signature or a monogram or something like that, and then compose it and place it beautifully, just the right value, just the right color, so that it works with the whole composition and just is that nice little harmonious part of the overall experience of the painting. I've seen some signatures that sort of trail off, like talk about low self-esteem. It's like they're just sort of signing it and kind of trailing away. It's like it should be put down with some confidence. It can be block letters, it can be a signature, whatever, but own it. Own your work if you're proud of it. Put your signature on there, absolutely. And make sure that you place it well so that consider when you're painting it, when it's framed, you're gonna lose half a centimeter, a quarter inch or something around the edges. You don't want your signature sitting on the frame like that or something. You want it placed well. Drives me nuts when you guys do that. Yes. All right.
So we were given another question here by Sigrid, which is, do you give classes / tutoring on anatomy?
Yes.
And by the way, the person here said, thank you, I appreciate you.
Oh, good. I'm glad I gave some. Yep. We do have anatomy classes. It's not a regular, like every couple of weeks or something like that, but we have lectures and we bring in anatomists or people who love anatomy to give sometimes intensive workshops for a few days or even a week or whatever, depending. We're now getting an instructor who's very passionate about anatomy, so we're probably having a bit more of that, but we do. That said, I want to say something about anatomy too, if I may, and that is that it's maybe less important than you think. Don't be intimidated by it. You don't need to know anatomy backwards and forwards to make beautiful figure drawings or drawings of people. If you want to create from your imagination though, then it's good to know anatomy so that you can invent things in a convincing way. So you don't have to know it like some kind of expert. If you're passionate about it, wonderful. It's a different skill set. Otherwise, anatomy doctors would be great artists. They're not. You learn how to see and observe and paint beautifully and draw beautifully, and then you'd have a knowledge of anatomy. And if you can marry the two, wonderful. But you can have a very happy, productive life not knowing much about anatomy at all if you have very good observational skills. So don't stress too much about it. But if you're into it, awesome. And if you want to work from your imagination, it might be important.
Okay, so next question here is drawing classes with live models you hire, or do the students have to stand model?
Tempting to make a joke, to stress you out, but no, students don't have to. We hire all our models. We work only from life, no photographs. I don't like working from photographs. I understand what people do, and it's okay if you do. It's just a choice you make. Own it, no problem, but we don't. I love working from life. I love the interaction with a live model or a live mug, if that's what I'm painting. I don't want to work from a photograph of anything. I like that sort of, it's intense, it's hugely important at this place. So yeah, students don't have to. We have lovely models, some really great ones, and we really value them.
And we got another question here as well, which is, do you use turpentine or maybe other safer solvent alternatives?
Yes, we use turpentine.
That's a good question.
Yeah, it is.
Get it.
All right. We do use turpentine, absolutely. Pure gum spirits of turpentine. It's very traditional. You can use other solvents. Obviously, mineral spirits, white spirit, Gamsol is popular. I have no problem with turpentine. To me, it's pretty strong, harsh, but it's probably less dangerous than mineral spirits even. It's not a petroleum product, which I like. But a lot of people are sensitive to it. They can get headaches and things like that. So we do take that into account, but it's an art school. You're gonna smell stuff, and that's okay. We manage it, but you're welcome to use other things. I only use turpentine in my mediums to clean brushes and things. I might use mineral spirits. What's that?
So far, I've not noticed much use of it, like contaminating the air.
Yeah. And be careful with like odorless mineral spirits. It's kind of, they're just moving some hydrocarbons. It's just as bad for you. You just don't smell it, but you're still breathing it. It's maybe better to use something that smells, so you realize maybe I should be out of the room here or open a window or something like that. But yeah, we'll use it. But we also use other things. Just depends on what you're.
We had lavender oil, didn't we?
Yeah, spike lavender oil. That's the old master turpentine, you might say. The solvent there. It can smell lovely. It's expensive a little bit to find a good source, right? But some people don't like that too. So we're thoughtful about it, but we certainly use it. I love it personally.
I just wanted to, we're getting close to the end, I think, but I just wanted to mention a little bit after what you touched on, Kajsa, when you walked past the doors and you thought that, oh, I would never be able to study here, or we have to be so good to apply and that. But we sort of welcome all sorts of levels to encourage everyone to apply. It's a bit also what you said before. It's got to be for the right person. It's got to be what you want and right for you and a good fit to the school. I think it's good to mention the application process that we have. That you fill in a very thorough application form when you apply. You find it online. I think it says on the website that you have to post it, but you are welcome to, of course, email it in to us as well. That is quite thorough, and I recommend filling that in as honestly as you can. That is a good start, would you say?
Absolutely. It's probably the most thorough application among schools like this out there. We take our time reading the application forms. It's a lot of questions because we want to know that you're right for this place and that this place is right for you. And I don't want a lot of people, like you said, they stress about, am I good enough, right? I'm not, maybe I should wait and practice some more before I apply. Don't worry about that. The pictures is just to give us an idea of where you're at. But we've had absolute beginners and then also working professionals. That's not as important as answering the questions thoughtfully. No. Because, is this really the place for you? And then basically everybody kind of starts at ground zero anyway when they get here. So it doesn't really matter how good you are. You will definitely get better. So it's just, is this the right place for you? What kind of art do you want to do? What are your ambitions? Those sorts of questions are important to us because that helps us sort of say like, yeah, we could help you with those goals and things like that. Or maybe this isn't, if you want to paint like, if your heroes are Picasso and Cezanne and Matisse and things like that, you probably don't need this. You can go somewhere else and study. You'd be happier. So it just helps us to understand. And like Lena said, be thoughtful in your answers, not just, yes, no, one sentence, because that doesn't reflect much passion. And I want to see that a student really wants to be here and why they want to be here. And then that leaves an impression, whereas just sort of filling out things doesn't really.
And the examples of work to send in, I think there's I don't. Would you say you shouldn't stress too much about those either, and do them as honestly as you can? Yeah, look
gallery
at the before
on our
and after.
website.
But for example, it says you will see that on the application form, but you need to send in a portrait, and that could be as simple as drawing yourself in the mirror at home.
All from life, though. We're specific about, we want the portrait to be from life. We want the figure study to be from life. It doesn't have to be a nude study. It can be a clothes study, I suppose. And the still life to be from life. And then if you want to supplement it with images that you've done from photographs or something, that's fine. But do those from life.
And you do only need to send in 5 pieces. So it isn't those
Don't stress about it.
Those 3 are compulsory, and then you choose 2 of your own choice as well. So that's it. And then email that to us. So, yeah.
We got a few questions coming in here towards the end, and one of them was: is ventilation good in the workshops? That is, in the way of HSE-wise safe.
I don't know what HSE is. Is that hypo something?
Yeah.
I don't know. But I'll say this, probably never good enough. You know, you always wish it was even better ventilation. It's an old building, it's a 19th century building, but we have really high ceilings, which helps. So there's a lot of air in the room. You're not in a contained space. You know, these are, I don't know.
Windows are open.
Of course, we open windows and things like that too.
There are vents in all
Yeah.
the rooms in the school. There is a air purifier here in the mod room.
They've been cleaned as
And
well.
two vents. So I think it's
Yeah, you don't have rags sitting around forever either that are
No,
smelly. I
Everything
mean,
goes into the.
it's not, I think it's actually pretty good. But you're gonna smell stuff. It's an art school. I think you should smell things. It should
the
feel
high
like that.
ceilings.
Yeah, but the very high ceilings, windows can be opened. People have different levels of sensitivity, and I think there's always someone, you know, cracks the window open, and we tell people if you're not using your solvent, you know, cover it up, that
Yeah.
sort of thing. So I think we're all pretty thoughtful about it.
HSE stands for Health, Safety, Environment.
Okay, yeah. I don't know if we meet those standards. We do have people come through here every once in a while, checking levels of things in the air.
They have,
That's all they have so far.
Yeah, we rent the building from the Simrishamn commune, and they check the vents for us. So they've just been signed up. So
Another question here was, may students proceed faster through the program if they show extensive skills? We have had students starting in later terms, right?
Yeah, you're allowed to apply to sort of jump through the program. We don't, as a school or an organization, believe in busy work, and I'm not going to hold anybody back who's really good. That said, though, I mean, it's set up so no one gets left behind, but you can't just, don't think that you're going to, because you're really good, you're going to come and you're going to finish a 3-year education in 2 years. Ain't going to happen. It's not going to happen. You won't get what we give you because things are offered in a certain order too. If you're really good and you do the assignment exceptionally well, you'll have other work to do, and you won't jump over into, you know, from charcoal into charcoal and chalk. But we'll give you work that serves you, that makes you better. And lucky, good for you, because you get to have more practice now, and that's the reward. So it's not like you're going to rush through the whole curriculum, but you're just going to get better. You know, we can help all levels of people, and if you're really, really good, we'll help you get even better. Even if you're progressing really, really well, that's awesome. But you're not going to be able to sort of finish the program in a sort of condensed time, unfortunately, if that's what you were hoping. It's gonna take the 3 years, because like we said, the things are sort of stretched out in a way over those 3 years in sort of in a way that makes sense in a logical order, that you wouldn't be able to sort of rush through it in a way.
so I often get asked the question, you touched on that, but that if you can start in the second year or third term or fourth term and so on, and yes, you can potentially do that, but only if you have done a similar training to this. It's about knowing, would you agree with this, that you have to know the method, be familiar with the methods. You couldn't just jump in the third term.
We have applicants from other schools that use site size, for instance, and they're going to have to, because we use comparative method, it's not the same. There's no transferring measurements or anything like that. You're all just looking and comparing with your eye. So you will have to do probably something like you've already done, just to show us that you can do it, you know, in the way that we work here. And it should be no problem for you if you're really good. And if you're a slave to this sort of measuring and transferring measurements in a certain setup, then you might have a problem, and you might realize that you're maybe not as advanced as you think you are. And maybe you need to, it would serve you to go back and learn this way. But yes, of course, you can. If you're ready and you can do it, cool.
Great. How are we doing, Alexander, for time? I think it's
We're doing fine. We're approaching 50 minutes. So,
okay.
yeah.
Okay. Is there any more questions?
No, we have gotten a lot of questions, and they have been answered, and we just got to thank you for the clear answers. So.
Oh, good. I'm glad to hear that. If it's not clear, just ask again.
Yeah.
It makes sense or something like that, you know, we're happy. And again, if you think of something later, just reach out, send us an email, send Lena an email, send the office an email, and we can clarify that for you. And ask and visit if you can. I know maybe you can't, but check us out. It'd be fun to see you.
Yes, very welcome to.
Otherwise, I think we're good, I guess.
Thank
huh?
you
Yeah,
so much
cool.
for
Thanks for stopping by, chatting with us.
Thanks for listening.
It's been nice.
Great. See you soon.
Bye.
Okay,
Bye bye.
Thank you.